welcome everyone to another episode of Numbers and Facts. I'm your host, Arihant, and after spending a decade with the Big Fours automating stuff there, I have started my own venture, Signals HQ, where we help CPF firms through automation products. And today we have Paul Gorman, who has more than 3 decades of experience, coming over here as a guest, sharing his experience and sharing his vision for the future. Over to you, Paul, for your introductions.
Oh, very good. Thank you. So one, it's a pleasure to be with you today, AK. And I guess what I bring to this podcast and what I bring to my CPA and financial coaching firm is that experience and a deep toolbox. But along with the numbers, I really have a lot of experience with personal growth and communication and leadership. And I bring those skills, and they're very much present in how I work with clients, how I work with, client staff. And jokingly, I used to say that I do accounting with personality. So my goal today is to bring me to be transparent, to be totally available to your questions, to be of benefit to your listeners. And I think with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Paul, and welcome again. I think based on all of our conversations have been very, very, very enriching, and you bring in a lot of experience, as you said. With that, I think our listeners would want you to take them through the journey of the past 3 decades.
Mm.
When you started, when you entered the market as a CPF until now, how has the journey been? What has changed? How did you evolve?
Yeah. That's such a great question. So the first thing I'll say about that is there's a quote that I really enjoy. And the quote is, "There are no lost dichotomies in the world." The original quote is "in God's world," but you could substitute universe. Everything that I've done in my life is what's available to me to use and of course, people that I work with. And the first example I have of that is I worked in a liquor store, kind of a small packaged goods store when I was in high school. And I learned how to do the 10 key adding machine because I needed to tally up the checks and charge receipts and create the daily deposit. So the first job that I got in a accounting firm, I already had that under the belt. When I got to work at the first CPA firm I worked with, I already had the adding machine. And so it's just my first example of things that we learn in different aspects of our life can always be valuable to us. I went to California State University, Cal State Long Beach, after some junior college, we used to call it. And I knew I wanted to do accounting kind of by saying, okay, I like math and I like people, so why not do public accounting? And I decided I wanted to get certified. My first few years of working in, posting entries to black ledgers, the computers were large computers that printed out, accounts payable, accounts receivable runs. From there, I went to their CPA firm, and once again, they were using service bureaus for processing and taxes as well as write-up work is what we used to call it. I worked with that firm, working with small businesses and individuals, some of the closely held businesses. And they ended up moving me to their CPA firm in Carlsbad. I was in Newport Beach at first in California. So moved there. Within a few years, we broke away from the Newport Beach firm, went out on our own. We did a lot with farmers and avocado groves and ranchers and small businesses. From there, I went out on my own for a few years, and that's when things got really interesting. I had an opportunity to go to work with the Orange County Treasurer Tax Collector, and I started with him as an accounting manager, basically in the treasurer's office. And 30 years ago, a municipal bankruptcy in Orange County was huge news. And so we went in and we set up new systems and controls, and I worked with every auditor, internal auditors, outside auditors, state auditors, quite a few. That was always an ongoing part of my job. Over a 20-year career with them. When I left, I was the chief assistant treasurer, tax collector. I had been there for I was probably in that position for 8, 10 years. It's a type of job that is 1 mile wide and 10 miles deep. We're working with an $8 billion fixed income investment pool, handling the banking for all of the county school districts and every county agency. We were basically kind of a cash management pool. So we dealt with all the banking, all the vendors, allocating interest to all our pool participants. So it was a really great job that was really great. I moved on from there to the director of accounting for the Orange County Superior Court. Had about 50 staff. We had a budget of $200 million. So to kind of go back, my first computer on my desk was an IBM XT with a 10 megabyte hard drive. And that was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? Just getting into spreadsheets. And the big thing was, wow, gosh, I don't know, should we use Excel or should we use Quattro Pro? So that for anyone that has memory of that, you kind of know where I got started. I through some things that happened in my life, I retired early, and I it was about 3 or 4 years till I started to look at, gee, what do I really want to do when I grow up? And what I came up with was, or kind of the other thing that happened is I took on another certification in my life. I was a certified public accountant. I became a certified treasury professional. I was a certified fixed income professional, a certified public finance investment manager. And the newest certification that I took on in 2023 was being a certified Imago professional facilitator. And, and that was really meaningful to me because it kind of brought me back into the accounting world when I had to do a project. And it nicely fits into doing financial coaching using what's called dialogue. So January of this year, I decided, you know what? I'm going to open my CPA and financial coaching firm and use this toolbox. In fact, AK, I just felt like I had to use the toolbox that I had. I had to use it to make a difference for businesses, to make a difference for their owners, to make a difference for people that are struggling with finances, needing some assistance in that area. So January 2025, I kicked it off, and I don't know, probably midway through the year is when I met you, and here we are.
Thanks, Paul, for the entire journey. Which year was IBM launched? IBM computer that you were working in?
Oh, gosh, what year was it? I don't know, maybe 85, 84, something like that. Maybe 85. I'm not really sure. Before that, we were using an Apple IIe, and VisiCalc was like, oh my gosh, we can't believe that we can do these kind of spreadsheets in VisiCalc. So that's that's where it all began. Yeah, that's something I would add. When I got back into my practice, and more so over the last year, the last 6 months or so, the types of software and apps that were available, the AI research tools that you guys are putting out there, it just really blew my mind. And now when I have a complex tax research, something that I really need to look at, I can in 30 minutes do something that would have taken me hours when I got started to go through the loose leaf tax research volumes and, look at the tax cases and the regulations and all the CCH uh, services that we had that needed to be updated weekly. So, I just in short, I have seen a lot of things change. And I think it is a great time to be an accountant, a CPA, a tax preparer, a financial coach, a consultant or virtual CFO to businesses because of all the resources. I mean, I use ChatGPT or Claude AI almost like a staff accountant, right? So it's really a kick to be able to provide the level of service to your clients that used to take us hours or even days.
True, true, Paul. I think I resonate with you. I think that's what the future holds for us. And for the year that you started with Excel, I think I was still not born. I was born half a decade after that. So I was born. I'm a '90s kid. So
I
yeah,
won't hold that against you. That's okay.
yeah. Thank God. So yeah, I think there are a couple of things that you rightly touched upon. One is, it's the right time to be in the profession and being in pace with where the profession is going towards. I think these are 2 points that we generally hear. We hear a lot in the CPA community is people are not wanting to come in. The talent pool that they have, the pipeline of talent, it's not there anymore, or it's just diminishing. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it is a very much talked about subject and topic on social media, places like LinkedIn. And you do hear about people that are having a hard time trying to find help. But yet, I recall a sole proprietor CPA sharing that he had over 100 applications for a tax manager position he had. So I think the issue is at the entry level. The California State Society of CPAs has recently reduced. They had a 150-hour accounting course requirement for their to be qualified to sit for the exam. They've reduced that. And there's been changes over the years for CPAs. When I became a CPA, the only way was to get the two-year experience requirement working for a CPA and doing a lot of the audit work. So they've relaxed that. So you can be a CPA. If you don't want to do auditing, you can get certified as the CPA and start. So the state has taken that one action, which should help a little bit. The other thing that I think is fascinating about the world of CPAs right now is that sole proprietors seem to be really growing because they've left the very rigorous uh, you know, uh, being a CPA for, I guess it's Big Four now. When I started, it was the Big Eight. So there's been some merging. Um, so the thought was, well, when you start with that firm with the Big Eight, you've got to be at the top level to even get in, right? And great GPA, great experience, all the stuff they want. So then you get in and you're working 60 or more hours. A week, and you're really just doing a lot of lower level work. Now, I remember one of my partners was worked with Price Waterhouse, and in his mid 20s, he was talking to the boards of people like Frito-Lay and defense companies and things like that. So, the experience you get was amazing at a young age. But, maybe that's not quite the same today. And so I think when I take a look at what the profession is, I think there's great opportunities to be a sole proprietor, to start your own business. Maybe you work with someone else for a few years or get that experience. But the days of having to spend 3 to 5 years, crank and grind with one of the big four, for example, now, I guess, those are not the only path. And the other thing I like to tell people, this is kind of consistent with, the quote that I started with, is that there's no lost economies in this world. And, you don't have to. You could be a CPA and you could take any number of different tracks. You want to do taxes, you want to do audit, you want to assurance, as they call it. You want to do consulting, you want to do CFO work. Many CPAs are getting it straight, going out of the tax and accounting service, write up bookkeeping area, and going directly into being CFOs because our clients need a higher level of service because a lot of their basic bookkeeping work is handled, and maybe even more so now it'll be handled and made easier with AI. So yes, I think it is an issue, but I also see this huge shift from the focus on the ultra large international accounting firms as being the only place you want to hang your shingle, to so much more people that are doing individual work, determining their own niche, and really creating practices and being very successful, and balancing that with the quality of life. So I think there's lots of positives on the horizon. Yes, the only thing that won't change is that everything will continue to change. We've been in that kind of a environment for as many years as I can remember. And what's changed is the acceleration of those changes. Now it's if you turn around, things have all changed when you turn right back the other way. So hopefully that covers what you asked.
Yep, that aptly covers, I think, what I asked. And also, it's going to be a great inspiration to all the young folks who have taken up accounting but are still looking out for advice on which field to choose. Is it if they want to do CPA, and encourage them to be in this field because we need more CPAs in the ecosystem. That's
Yeah.
that's that's the point that we want to make, and this is the right time to be in this profession and be tech ready for the future as well. Coming up to the changes that we are talking about, when we look back and things have changed, and change is the only constant that we talk about always. So, what do you think the future holds for us as a profession?
Wow, that's such a great question, AK. Um, because we have the remarkable tools and resources that are available to us today, and knowing that they're going to get better, so to speak, handle more of the routine work. Here's just a small example. I had a property manager send me a general ledger for their this $7 million commercial property that he was managing. And I thought, oh, geez, what am I going to do? So I uploaded it into AI and said, summarize it. And I had it gave me an income statement. It gave me trends, percentage. It gave me a ledger with detail for everything that pulled forward. That was like in 10 minutes, and that kind of detail work really frees us up to look out for our clients, to use our creativity in building systems for them and bringing efficiency to their systems so that our clients staff can get through the work that they need to do. And I think what it holds for the profession is that our relationships with our clients become so much more important. The idea that our clients, they're more than their numbers. They're people. We have relationships where we can really make a difference for them. I don't think that AI or the next great accounting program or tax research program will ever replace that. I think the beauty of what's being developed by firms like yours and others is that you help us really do more value-driven work for our clients. It's something that I just I don't see that you can ever fully replace people in an automated and mechanized world, or, that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
So, yeah, I think I agree to you, Paul, and that is something that we have always, you know, preached about, that AI is never going to take your job. It's just going to make your job easier and lift you up the value chain. I think people are scared everywhere that okay, AI is going to take my job and I'll not be required in the workforce. But no, as AI scales up, if you scale your skill sets, I think your job can be elevated through the use of automation and artificial intelligence, is what I have also preached about always.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I think what our clients want is kind of a high touch environment. They want us to
Yep.
understand their businesses. They want us to know their numbers, but they want someone that is not just giving them something that tells them what their business did 6 months ago. They want forward-looking information to tell them what's on the horizon for their business, what's coming that we can see, or even, you know, what we can't see that we can imagine could be coming. So it's think the tools and resources that we have provide us just so many more things and kind of exhilarating to be able to participate in this level of work after so many decades of the traditional resources, you know, from using Excel to add, subtract, and multiply, um, to you know, our current day products that's just, you know, in the blink of an eye they can do those things. You know, macros used to be, wow, that's amazing, what a great spreadsheet, macros. Well, those have gone by the wayside, I think.
Yeah, I think AI will never be able to take up the personal touch. If it would have been AI making the first call to you, we would not have been sitting here.
Yeah, yeah, that's totally
Yeah,
great. I don't know if I'm ready to let an AI assistant answer my phone yet, so I can tell you that.
great, great, great. Okay, so looking back in your journey and looking where we are right now, including what the future holds for us, what is that one thing, if you have to pinpoint just one thing that you want to change in the profession in the coming days?
Mm,
What could that be? Just one thing.
wow. Mm.
For me, maybe it would be, not working 60 hours a week.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's key, and I think that you hit the nail on the head, AK, because people coming into the profession are are not so much interested in that 60 to 80 hour week unless there's a huge payoff, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that the value of that is enticing to have that kind of a job. But if we can provide something not only for ourselves as firm owners, but for our staff that, you know, provides a great living, does it that allows them to live their lives, to be involved in their children's lives, you know, involved in their passions. I recall a time in my career where I was looking at, well, gosh, you know, what do I want to do? Do I want to become a tax attorney or what do I want to do? It's like work was fun. Work was great, sometimes very challenging, and the hours, especially during tax season, were overwhelming when I had to say goodbye to my family for 3 months. But what I came to is that sometimes we just need that time, um, not only to be with our family and friends, but to develop our passions, perhaps outside of work, you know, whether it's art or poetry or performing. I did a number of voice classes where I just had a ball, you know. I was a Cub Scout leader for my kids. I was a Boy Scout leader. All those things are so important because, you know, I think it goes without saying, but our most important resource is our youth. And I think the years of assuming that, you know, an iPad and the TV are going to be the best teachers are fading away, and person to person, father to child, uh, you know, husband to wife or husband to husband, whatever the case may be, wife to wife. Um, that those personal connections and that time we spend each other is what is going to be our anchor to the lives that we really do desire. So those are some of my thoughts.
I absolutely agree, Paul. I think I have a 6-year-old, and if 2 weeks I don't spend with him if I'm traveling, after 2 weeks when I come back, and you can feel that okay, there have been something missing for those 2 weeks. And yeah, agreed. And you need time out of your work, out of your busy schedule. You need to make time to have those personal connections. And again, as I said, or as we previously mentioned, AI and the automation tools may help you free up a lot of time by not making you do those grunt jobs on a daily basis, those monotonous jobs. I think that might also pull some of Gen Zs in, do you think, into the profession?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it could even bring some people back in that left, like me, right? I mean, I I think to be honest, we can say being a CPA is a rigorous profession. But I was originally drawn to it because as a professional, you can go so many different ways, and that's even more true today, right? And so many things that are current technology and remote. I mean, can you imagine us trying to do this before COVID? I'm sure some people were doing podcasts and all that other stuff. But the type of connections that we've had in our meetings together and this, it just really provides a richness to the world and to continue to provide space in our lives for 6-year-old children. Will they survive if we're not there? Yeah, but to really see what's lost if we're not in their lives, it can't be replaced. My oldest son passed away about 5 years ago. I can look back at my youth when I was working those 60 and 80-hour weeks, and I can't, that loss can never be replaced. And, my wish for every young CPA is never to have to, willingly give their life to a profession at the exclusion of their connections with their loved ones.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Paul. So sorry to
Yeah,
hear
thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'll change the topic a little bit. We have spoken about our journey. We have spoken about the journey of the profession and the technology involved in the profession. I'll shift it a bit to the people who are in the profession. So you would have seen at least three generations. I think it's baby boomers, Gen Zs, Gen X, and everyone. So how has your interaction been different? Tell us some funny stories about each generation that you have.
Uh, I remember a little poster in someone's office that said, "Old bookkeepers don't die; they just become unbalanced." And I think there's some truth to that. So, gosh, when I got back into the profession, let me say this: in more than one instance, I had to look at returns that have been prepared by people that perhaps were beyond their years doing tax work, right? It reminded me of the TV show about plastic surgeons called Botched. I saw botched returns. And in both cases, serious things, when I looked at the returns, I thought, oh my gosh, someone could actually provide this level of service to a client and not know that it was substandard. So, and they were in their 80s. Now, I'd love to say that I can make it into my 80s and prepare work like that, but I think at one point we need to know that it's too far. The thing that's interesting is that when I came in, give it everything you've got, Scotty, kind of that you give your career everything you have because it's going to pay off and be wonderful for you. That illusion, although, I mean, did I learn a lot from working nights and delving into the tax code and the regulations and doing research? Sure. But as I've already said, the cost of that is really something else. Gosh, if my memory was better, I could probably remember better stories. Um, I I think what is different today is that we can work well into our senior years. That's something that's new. And I think the challenge for us is really paying attention to what our younger generation needs and wants. We know that our younger generation is up against economic challenges that we never had to face at the same level as they do today, right? We had our own challenges. We had to, support our families. We had to buy homes, but those things are so much more challenging today, which, is a big reason why I wanted to take on financial coaching, because our world is so much more complex financially. I just think the key needs to be connection, flexibility. My son works for a firm and he wanted to take a day off. And it was like he had to get the third degree. Well, what are you doing? Or why do you need that? It's like, no, personal time is personal time. If our staff or people we work with, they need that flexibility. It's the same flexibility I have. If I take the day off and I want to work tonight on something or get up early in the morning, I do that, right? I don't have to punch a clock. Well, let's provide that same level of flexibility to our staff and people that we're working with. And I think that's that kind of a difference in treating people with respect and some level of flexibility for their lifestyle choices is critical to us all moving forward, as human beings as well as professionals.
True. So I think this is something that I admire a lot about you is the way that you bring so much into the conversation and you give so much every time that we speak without judging the person that or without judging the other person for anything. It's like every time it's talking to a mentor and not just the one person. So yeah, I've always been grateful for that, and I've also told you about it a lot of times.
Yeah, thank you so much, AK. I appreciate that. And
Yeah,
I'll tell you a secret. This is the fun stuff, right? This is what makes doing this work joyful. It's not just about surviving in our businesses. It's about thriving. I
yeah,
just, I just, I just spent an hour on a phone with a young lady from Belarus that wants to get some tax experience. Is very concerned about not having the experience and maybe not feeling too confident. And I said, well, that's ordinary. Notice that concern and that fear. And, it's going to show up in your body as body tension. And when you see it, just thank you very much. I'm doing fine. I've got it under control. I appreciate you trying to protect me. But I'm good. Right. And, really keying in on, what we're here for. I think we're here to connect with each other and help each other. And all of the work we do in our individual professions, it's necessary. We have to have it, to meet the needs of our current economy and businesses, lifestyles, all of that. But it is something that one-on-one connecting with each other, making a difference in either providing more for people in our services or providing more in personal connection. That's what gives me the juice, so to speak.
yeah. I agree to that part. I think that's great. So now another topic if I want to talk about, I hope it's not too controversial, but uh what about next year? This OBBA brings in a lot of changes.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you get yourself ready for that?
There's no getting around spending time, right? Spending time researching, spending time preparing the information in a way that our clients can understand it, right? And we know with the tax code, what we have today will change probably next week, right? But we had some very major changes, some very positive things for perhaps, you can say seniors that aren't at a very high level, some major changes for people that are earning overtime, major changes for people that perhaps are earning tips, some very cool things, some major changes for businesses in 100% bonus depreciation that, have been scaled back. And along with that comes more complexity. And guess what? We need more computer programs. We need more CPAs. We need more continuing professional education. Every vendor out there in December is probably launching, one or two or even more, CPE, not CPE necessarily, but OB3 as it's lovingly called now.
Yeah.
One big beautiful bill. I'm sure a lot of people don't think it's beautiful, but as looking for how the tax law can benefit our clients, that's our main job. Compliance is important. I love how they used to say this more, is that the tax laws are compliant. You choose how to comply. Well, in today's world, there's so many more things that if you don't report it properly, the electronic sniffer is going to find it, and the IRS will
Yeah.
let you know you filled it, or the franchise tax board. So it's not going to be the last tax bill we see. It may not be the best, it may not be the worst, but we'll continue to see those changes. And I think at some point, the wisdom of just perhaps starting over might be a good approach. It's just, if you continue to build on a weak foundation, which some might say that about our current tax code, you're always fixing something that's broken, but that soon too will be broken. I look to the things that benefit, different areas of our economy. And I think there's great. And the overlay for all of that, AK, is, are those things consistent? Are those kind of tax changes or bonus depreciation? The guy that runs out today and buys a greater than $6,000 truck because he wants to write it all off this year. The question that we as professionals and CPAs want to be asking, how does that fit with their other goals, and how does it align with, what their business is up to, and what are they up to? And I can remember many times taking a deduction for Section 179 depreciation or something like that. In the theory, let's reduce the tax liability now, without really looking at what's happening in the future for this business. Once again, it's great to be able to have hindsight, but we can provide so much more value when we are looking at the future for our clients, and how the decisions we are choosing today as taxpayers preparers, what do those things bode for the future of their business? And thankfully, we have the tools that help us take a look at that much easier now.
Yep. I think when I was sitting with my the tech lead and we were going through automating piece, and he just casually came up and said, Arihant, you told us to automate 10 piece. Do you even know that there are more than 100,000 permutation combinations for an individual, and that we have to program that? Look, yeah,
Oh
I
my
know
gosh.
it. He's like, okay, but did you not tell us that you are not from CPA background? You are not CPAs. You are tech guys. If I were to tell you upfront, you'll get scared of it. It's our bread and butter, so it's okay for us. The complications that we have to go through. Yeah, I know it's a lot of complications, and these are not gonna go away. These are not gonna go away. You need expert people and experienced folks all around to give a proper client experience to all your clients that are coming in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Many years ago, in the firm I was in, a smaller firm that had acquired an office of Moss Adams way back then. It was a group of Big Eight folks. And I remember there was one guy, they said, "Oh, this is George. All the rest of the partners are from Price Waterhouse, Arthur Anderson, Deloitte." And George was with Carl Shoes. So, he was kind of the one odd person. But the point is, the things that we can do today are pretty amazing. And I think the key is how we use those for everyone's benefit, when you're providing a product. I think I lost track of the original question, but That's what I had to say.
It's okay. It's okay. Um, I think yeah, that's about it about the serious stuff. So and as our conversation started, we I was waiting for you to wear your Santa suit. That's the reason I'm in a green hoodie to keep that Christmas vibe alive.
Say that again.
So I was actually apart from the boring stuff, apart from the work stuff,
Oh,
I was hoping for you to wear your Santa suit.
yeah. Well, I've got a Ren Spooner Christmas shirt on, so that's about as close as I was willing to get. One of my signature songs that I learned, sometimes I sing it better than others, is "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." And perhaps we could say that you're a mean one, Uncle Sam, sometimes, in the tax world. But I can be a bit of a ham, just in case you can't tell.
You're very sweet, at least to me. And that is the reason I was wearing my green hoodie. I was just going to, carry forward your Christmas vibe and the holiday vibes that are just right around the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you have any
Yeah.
exciting plans?
Nothing too crazy. My wife is a teacher, so she'll be off for a couple of weeks. She loves to travel when she has her
Hmm.
school breaks, but I really like to be here at Christmas. So we don't go until after Christmas. We'll go up to my sisters in the Bay Area and her daughters in the
Hmm.
Bay Area and just have some quality time, probably drink some wine, visit some wineries. It's a nice, casual, relaxing pastime. It'll be a nice break from well, this time of year. It's a really good opportunity for us to be making sure our clients have taken the actions they need to take before year end. I do my best to get some of that information out there on social media for people to talk to their CPAs about. And certainly there's things we need to do before year end to prepare and so on as for our firms. But I think it's a great time to kick back, relax, from Thanksgiving forward to experience gratitude for the lives we've been given, for the people in our lives, business and personal connections. And it's a really good time of, I think, renewal and looking at things sometimes with a new pair of glasses so that we're not seeing the same things and doing the same things that we had done in the past year as we look at, well, gee, that worked. Well, that didn't. You know, and when I look back at my career, at one point when I was afraid of failure, right? And now I welcome it. Please, let's fail so we can see perhaps a better way to move forward because sometimes we just need to shine a light on things and to see what we need to move forward. And I have a card here from a gym that I go to, and it says something very simple. It says, "Cheers to another great year." So I think that would be my wish for you, your company, and your family, AK, and all of the people listening to this podcast.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you so much. And we wish you the same. We wish you a great year and we wish you all the best. We wish you all the best for your gym journey as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks,
Yes.
AK. I appreciate the opportunity. And the best we can hope for is that one thing that we say may make a difference for someone, right? And whether you say a client or a new staff member coming into the field or considering what to do, there's two people that I'm currently talking to that are just in their exploring phase. They're in school, they're looking at doing different things. And what a gift for me to be able to share what I know and what I see, not as the rule or the law or the only thing, but just to expand their awareness, right? And that's the gift that we hold for each other.
No, I agree. I agree. I think uh, rather than people going to school or just out of school, I think you have been doing the same for me as well.
Yeah, thanks, AK.
Yeah.
Great to be
So
here. I appreciate the opportunity.
thank you so much, Paul.